His pace increases with every step he takes, and by the time he reaches the forest's edge, he's running as fast as he can. Taking a deep breath, he plows into the unexplored woods and doesn't look back. It's much too late for second thoughts now. Everything changes. Here there is much less light, and everything is dull. Dry, brown pine needles cover the forest floor. Tall firs crowd together, blocking the sun and making the air temperature much cooler. What was a gentle mist has become a dense fog that makes it impossible to see more than a few feet ahead. Sharp rocks and fallen branches jump out at him as he fights his way blindly through the foreign landscape. But he can't stop or even slow down much, lest he lose the sound of her tiny feet moving just out of sight. The forest rings with her high-pitched giggle. It comes from everywhere. It comes from nowhere. The trees themselves are laughing at him. "You can't catch me!" Every time he sees a glimpse of her red dress in the haze, the fog swallows her up again. Always, she stays just out of reach. And then, the sound of her footsteps cease altogether. He stops, straining to listen for any sign of movement. Somewhere ahead, he can hear the distinct sound of rapid water. It grows louder as he consciously moves forward, until he can't even hear the sound of his own pounding heart in his ears. He nears the edge of the cliff and peers over the side. The lower river roars, foaming and churning with white water as it rushes by at a daunting speed. He squints, spotting a flash of red. The fog lifts to reveal the little girl walking across a log suspended over the chasm, keeping her arms straight out to keep her balance. Okay, so I haven't done too much editing. Okay, in her right hand, she clutches his feather. Her body language shows no fear of falling into the dangerous water beneath the makeshift bridge. She holds her head up high, not watching her feet. Concern stabs at him, and it has nothing to do with the feather she stole. Her foot slips on the damp bark, sending her wobbling dangerously for one terrifying second. He pleads for her to slow down and be more careful, but the roar of the river drowns out his voice. Doesn't she realize she could fall to her death at any moment? A thief though she may be, she's still only a child. Nobody deserves such a violent end, let alone someone so young. Seeing no other choice, he clambers onto the log after her. He doesn't trust himself enough to attempt to walk the distance, so he gets down on all fours and to crawl. Spray quickly soaks through his clothing as he edges across the downed tree. His wet hair whips into his eyes continuously, stinging and making it incredibly hard to see. He can't risk an attempt to brush the dripping curls back. He needs to use both of his hands just to keep stable. The sound of water rushing not more than 10 feet below is deafening. He can feel the sound of it vibrating in his bones. It's a deep, unnerving rumble that never subsides. Cold, soaking wet, and trembling from head to toe with fear, Davis wishes he had never left his nice safe rock to go on this adventure. Nothing is worth this kind of torture. Not a mischievous child, or a feather, or a beautiful song he doesn't even remember. He probably just imagined the Cardinal's visit in the first place. A pleasant fantasy conjured to break up the endless waiting for something that may never actually happen. He's an idiot. A small thud draws his attention. With a hop, the little girl makes it safely to the other side. She beckons him to hurry with a wave of her arm, saying something he can't hear. "What?" he yells, but it's no good. And though he creeps ever closer, he still can't hear her tiny voice. Excuse me. Bark tears his palms to shreds, yet he feels no pain. Blood makes his grip slick. So much blood, it's all over on the backs of his hands and staining the knees of his jeans. Why is he so numb? Land is in sight now, only a few feet away. He can hear some of her encouraging words, fractured between gusts of wind. "I can't hear you," he shouts over the noise. "Almost. Faster," she says, holding the feather out as an incentive. "Come on, Daddy." "Daddy?" Startled, he slips and cannot recover his balance. Over the side he tumbles, twisting in the air like a cat. The river fills his vision. He knows he won't survive. Squeezing his eyes shut, he braces himself for impact. With a jerk, Davis tumbles out of bed. He lands on the floor with a crack and wakes up screaming. It takes several seconds of flailing and gasping for air for reality to register. He isn't drowning. Whitewater rapids are not carrying him out to sea. He lies on the floor of his room, tangled in the sheets. He looks at his hands. They're whole, not cut to pieces by rough tree bark. Everything is okay. Everything is fine. He's safe. Outside his window, a cardinal sings a hopeful melody. It's morning. Whew. Okay, so, more or less, that is it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'd like you to take some time to think about the symbolism, because I worked very hard on that. Particularly, the blood and things, and how that's kind of a bit of a feminine symbol. This is something I played a lot with gender roles in my novel, so just kind of sharing that. Anyway, I hope you liked it. Please tell me yes or no. I mean, don't feel like you need to flatter me or something. If you didn't like it, tell me why, and I'll respect that. I'm not Meyer. So, have a good evening, and hopefully I will be back next week with you, Arbella. I wrote some of it, but I have to get in now to where I'm examining actual fan things, and things that fans have said, and that's really kind of bringing me down. Anyway, good night, and I hope you liked it.